Bam!
Got him. Are we live? Oh, we're live. This is where the magic
My
happens.
fucking chair just doesn't stop squeaking. I think I need to put some WD-40 on it.
Really?
Yeah. Sounds like
No, of course the music doesn't want to play, but
hello.
all right,
hello,
we're live.
Is anybody in there? Just
We
not
are
if you can hear me.
Live. So what's everybody joining us right now? We are live again for our 26th episode of the Adaptive Podcast. We are officially marking the start of season 2.
Oh, yeah.
So again, we want to thank everybody for supporting us through season 1, giving us the energy and the motivation to continue to do this every week. We have a really great episode for you today, a very jiu-jitsu centric, getting back to our roots and our original plan of covering the sport and kind of bringing our perspective as well as main events that are going on. And yeah, we got a lot of great stuff for you today.
We're going to talk about some jiu-jitsu today, huh?
Palabra.
Lots of jiu-jitsu. So we
what you
really
guys-
hope.
What do you want to get into first? Did you want to talk about your... Wait, what did we discuss? You want to...
What did we go over, man?
There's a lot of stuff. You had like 12 different things by the time we started here. But do you want to talk
We
about...
probably
like,
won't hit everything, but
Did you want to go over warm-ups?
I did want to go
And
over
the
warm-ups.
importance of warm-ups?
Oh man, I didn't.
Come on, that's your like topic. What do
I
you want
didn't
to talk
have-
about warm-ups for?
I didn't have time to get with
Yeah, okay.
Mardo to
Yeah.
hear his
Apologize
his
to
message.
him.
I'm sorry, Mardo. I didn't get to all the messages you sent me, but I am going to review them. He did have some interesting stuff. So with the warm-ups, I just kind of wanted to talk about it because I think it's in jiu-jitsu it's very light. So we asked one of our training partners, Mauro, who's a judoka. He's been doing judo for a long time. And I wanted his perspective because 2 reasons. He does take judo very seriously, and he does take jiu-jitsu very seriously, but he can't make it on time for warm-ups. So I asked
He
his
does all his stretching in the car.
right. So
You got the music now?
so I asked
Just decided to work all of a sudden.
I asked for some insight from him and what he thought. So one of the things he came back with is number 1, warm-ups is incredibly important to him.
He just skips them.
He just has to skip them because of work, which I thought brought up the really good topic. We talked a little bit about it. Like if you can't make warm-ups, number 1, you should probably try to do some stuff on your own.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Big
But-
time. Yeah, I did that. I try to do that even like throughout the day.
Mhm.
I always make warm-ups for the most part when I actually can make it to class. So usually I kind of wince when everyone wants to use the cliche joke that purple belts don't go to warm-ups because goddamn it, I go to warm-ups and I do my warm-ups. Okay. But when I can't, I'll actually do just like brief yoga a couple times throughout the day. I have like tight hips and stuff for the most part. So I'll really even like 3 5-minute sessions, 3 10-minute sessions when I can throughout the day makes a huge difference.
Right.
Huge difference.
Yeah, I have the philosophy from Zombieland. You know, you ever see a lion stretch before he makes his kill? Yeah, I just go for the kill. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Yeah.
full of shit. I
The
always try
cat
to make...
stretches when it wakes up.
I was
That
just
was
about
just-
to say
no,
you're
you know,
taking all the
no, no.
context of life out of it.
Absolutely. No, that's what's so funny about that line, because I always thought to myself, I'm like, of course they do. They nap like fucking 18 hours a day. They wake up, they stretch, and they go hunt.
Yep.
I'm making the joke. Of course, I always... Dude, you know what's funny? I never went through a phase where I was like, I'm just gonna, take my time getting inside the gym and take my time changing, and we'll just skip these warm-ups. I think they're crucial. They get my blood flowing. Sometimes I'm like, after a long day of work too, especially, I'm like, I'm dragging ass. Sometimes I need to just push myself to go to jiu-jitsu. And then I always know what actually helps push me to go to jiu-jitsu is I know how I'm gonna feel once I'm done and I leave the place. I always feel way fucking better going out of the gym than going into the gym.
Mhm.
And I just know how crucial it is to warm up, because it like every time if I like get home, I'm tired, sometimes I make the mistake of like sitting down and passing out for like 20 minutes, and then I'm groggy as shit. I get to the gym, I'm like, I don't want to do any of
Oh,
this.
pre jiu-jitsu nap is.
No, it's an accident. It's never on purpose.
It is an accident.
I know how bad it is though. And then like when I get there, after the warm-ups, I'm good. I'm like ready to go. I don't have that feeling whatsoever. The minute we start jogging, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm young again.
I
for
think
a brief
Yeah.
season.
I think one of the things that came from the conversation that was really important too was that when you're late for warm-ups because you have life being an obstacle, whether it's family, work, or whatever, you should have conversation with your partner so that they know why you're missing. You should talk to your professor too. You should let them know, hey, I can't get out of work until this time, because I think it's important to have that openness about your, it would just be the same exact reasoning behind if you can't make class. Like maybe class is at 6:00, but you are commuting for the next couple months and you're going to be late because of traffic. Well, you know what? I bet you it means more to the professor than that you're in there.
Well, we were talking about this the other night, right?
Mhm.
When we were discussing that, we would talk about this on the podcast. But like Maro was saying in judo, it's like unacceptable if you're like a minute or two late,
Unheard of.
or even unheard of. And I think like I mean it's always up to the owner of the school or professor, and to the degree of how important it is to them. We're a little bit more laid back, but I do believe that it's still important to Raji that you make it on time. But I also, like you said, I think as long as you have an open dialogue and communication with whoever your professor is or the owner or whatever, like I can't make it. I'm sure they're just happy to be like, at least you're training and you're in here, even if it's obviously they're going to prefer that you come and you take class. But even for the people, because like schedules are always going to change for people, right? But if you're dedicated to jujitsu or whatever martial art, at some point that's going to change. And as long as you kept like yourself going and getting, any type of training, maybe at some point you will be able to make it to the warm-ups and make it to the class, you know what I mean? But overall, like I can understand, like we were talking about too, like in Japan and like South Korea and like other different like countries with martial arts, they're so punctual, and you can understand that anyway, just from to a degree to just a personal relationship, right? It's like that's that person's time. It's like respect. It's like it's an honor system, you know what I mean? It's like you're late. It's like well, you just totally disrespected that person's time, and it meant nothing. You basically are saying to them like, oh, your time means nothing because I just walk to my own beat, my own time. And I get shit happens, obviously, and like life gets in the way and stuff, but that's why communication is such an important thing, right? So, but whatever, that's getting deeper into things, but I think that goes hand in hand.
Well, we always talk about reflection.
But anyway,
reflecting with your professor and your partners about why you are unable to be in at the specific time. And, we're supposed to be respecting of each other's time, like you said. With judo, what I thought was funny that he said to me is that judokas always talk about how jujitsu is retirement for judo players because jujitsu is more laid back. It's all chill.
Dude,
with judo, you have to warm up or you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, your body gets thrown. You're getting thrown. That's a sport where you're just getting thrown. You're letting your body basically become a rag doll, and you're getting.
So do you
thrown.
just like jump and throw yourself onto your back and like belly flop a bunch of times onto the mat?
Do you ever see some of the exercises and actual like warm-ups they do?
I'm just kidding.
A lot of rhythm.
No, but I'm saying like you should watch some. You'll be like, I guarantee you from at least a damn, I have respect now. Like you'll look at Morrow differently in a sense because of that. Because you're like, oh shit.
Well, I've definitely seen at least plenty of the matches.
Matches is one thing, but like you see, like, dude, it's one thing when you go in a match, you get thrown once and the match is over, right? Imagine going to class like 5 times a week that you're dedicated, and you go to the Olympics or whatever, but you're training like 5 to 7 days a week, and all you're doing for 2 hours is getting thrown.
Yeah,
like you said, it makes sense to me that your body would get fucking completely annihilated if you didn't warm up for judo. But like I still feel like it's also age. There's so many fucking factors that go into it. Well, it depends on the sport. And
think about it too from this perspective.
My brother just asked, actually, Mike, can you elaborate? Actually, is there too much warm up?
I think I get what he's saying. I think it's like, do you mean does it go on for too long? Like,
or is
you come to class and maybe warm ups, or we're warm in 10-15 minutes, and maybe whoever's leading the class takes it 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Like,
I wonder if. Well, I don't think he means it in time.
Or is it that you get too
Time.
tired to train?
Or not even a time issue. That's why I want him to elaborate, because I think what he's trying to ask is too much of a warm up like bad for your body? Like, could you actually injure yourself through warming up too much? But I don't know if I agree if that is the case, Mike. I don't think too much warm up is a bad thing anyway, because you're eventually going to go into full blown training, and then in the training in itself, like anything can happen. I don't think it's gonna. I think you're more affected with less warm up than more warm up.
I think
as far as like injury risk.
I think the way Raji has communicated in the past, he uses the warm up as you breaking away from the entire day, and you're clearing the reset so that you can now focus on this, which should in turn allow you to forget about everything that you've been dealing with, forget about what's going on in life, and focus on what's in front of you right now and being in the present of what you're dealing with. I actually think, as much as I hate it, I don't think warm-ups sometimes are too much. Like, I think sometimes when you see somebody go like 20 minutes, when you see somebody go like 20 minutes and you did not expect that, you wanted maybe like 5 minutes of warm-ups, maybe like running around, doing side to side, backwards, knees, heel kicks, getting on the ground, doing some stretching, some bridges, some triangles, and then getting into it. Like, a lot of people want that, right? Because they're used to it. But sometimes being pushed a little bit before class starts, like, think about your oxygen levels are still coming. You're still needing more oxygen, right? While the class is starting, while you're being taught the move. So now all of a sudden you're using the same sensors that you do when you're in a roll. When you're in a roll and you're getting tired and you're trying to have to pay attention to what's going on, the breathing, slowing yourself down, thinking about what you're seeing in front of you, and letting go what's behind. Does it make sense? Like I really think that, as much as I not the biggest fan of warm-ups, I think there's a lot of parallels to, like, you may not like certain things in life, but you do them because you know it's better for you.
Well, it's like consistency, right? And it's funny because I had an interesting conversation with my brother about why there's so much more injuries. Well, specifically, we're talking baseball, but there's so much more injuries in sports altogether. And it's like, I don't know if it's because of money and why they do it, but like, pitchers come back from rehab and stuff like that. They coddle these players, and then they're not doing enough. And I think they re-injure themselves because, like, you're going against the best of the best, and like, you're coddling them and you're not letting them be their full selves. That's like, guys are all like, in the 80s in the Mets, they're all coked up and party all night and just go right back into it. No injuries, nothing. Animals. And it's like, now
it's different.
I don't really think
I have an argument towards that, but it's so different.
I don't think that you can warm up too much where you're going to open yourself up to injury. I think you can overtrain. I don't think
overtrain, that's for
but
sure.
I don't think you can over warm up, because like in warm ups, it's not like we're throwing weights around. We're not, you know what I mean? I don't think it's that intensive. I don't think it's intense enough.
But is it a warm up anymore? If you went past
it's not a warm up anymore.
If you went past the point where
now
you're
it's just
hurt,
exercise.
Yeah. So I mean,
I'm just thinking for myself. Like, I can't see myself warming up to a point where then I would see myself getting hurt, unless I already had an injury and maybe I'm like wearing down.
Necessarily means getting hurt from the warm up, but
he said injury on the other end. That's like during the training now, which I don't.
Yo, just real quick though,
I don't really see that happening.
On the baseball, I want to stay on the jiu-jitsu, but not to go too deep.
Yeah,
on the baseball side, throwing a baseball is one of the most unnatural things a human can do.
Yeah, that's why, like, underhand pitching,
softball actually is like normal.
Way,
humans are actually made to catapult something underneath. But going over the top breaks this.
So you don't think there's any? See, now you're gonna get me into this topic.
Yeah.
So you don't think there's any correlation with the fact that, like, Cy Young had 500 some wins, and he pitched 9 innings, and he pitched 100, 90.
I also don't think Cy Young had, and I know this for a fact because of technology, Cy Young didn't have a guy in the dugout looking at an iPad knowing that this guy throws a fastball on the inside of the plate 75% of the time. Cy Young didn't have that disadvantage. These pitchers do. So when they throw a pitch, it has to be the perfect pitch almost every single time.
I'm talking about injuries, though. I'm not talking about, like,
I know. So as Cy Young, he could throw the same pitch over and over again with a higher level of confidence than a pitcher does today.
Sure, but I feel like that's separate from, like, injuries and them getting hurt all the time and then not being able to put like, dude, pitchers pitch like DeGrom pitched 6 innings,
Mhm.
6 innings, and then they
68
pulled-
pitches, and they pulled him.
Forget about pitchers.
babying him.
Yeah, let's
Forget
go.
about pitchers. What do you think like these competitors do for warm-ups? For instance, we just had a bunch of good matches this past week.
Mhm.
Lovato Jr. versus Meregali. Like professionals like this, what kind of warm-ups do you think they're doing before they compete?
I think they're doing a lot of like warm-up drills, not like with a partner and doing like over under passes and stuff like that.
Flow rolling.
Well, you know, it's funny because I do this a lot sometimes, like when I'm coaching a class or whatever, and I'll get everybody to warm up. Sometimes if it's I do it usually only for smaller classes.
Mhm.
So say if there's like under 10, I usually pair people up. I put the clock on for 6 minutes, and if it can be done right, because sometimes people just turn into actual rolls, but I tell everybody just flow. Don't think about pinning anybody. Don't think about submitting anybody. Think about constant movement. And don't worry if the guy like moves around you a little bit better. Just keep moving. And if your partner is a good partner in this flow roll, he should just get to where he needs to, let you spin out, and then make a move. And it's kind of just a back and forth give and go. But it's funny because I'll watch and like almost everyone does this, but they'll start off. I think it's good just to keep the blood flowing. You're already moving. Just keep moving, constant movement. Don't get yourself tired, but get your blood flowing. You know what I mean? Because obviously, like once you start fighting pins and you're getting really like tight and aggressive, then it's like, well, now you're just gonna get tired because you're using muscles. You're not just moving, so you're not getting your heart rate going, which warms the body up because the blood's flowing through the whole body. But it's funny, every time halfway through the match, it goes from flowy to all right, smash pass.
Yeah,
and the guy's defending, and I'm like, all right, and I have
it's
to
hard
walk
not
around.
to. You know, it's
I know, but that's
it's a combat.
Yeah, it's an ego thing more so.
Yeah,
than anything, but
I think it also just it's fun. You know,
it's fun. You get
I think
into
it
it,
is
but
an ego thing, but it's tough
of
to
course it is,
not
because-
get there. You know, because
But here's the thing. That's why it's an ego thing. You're getting competitive in a moment when I basically shout out to everybody. That's not the purpose of what we're doing here. So I think it's an important lesson for 2 reasons. One, it slows your brain down to the point where you have to just focus on movement and not focus on winning a match. And that's where I say the ego kicks in, because all of a sudden your brain rewired to fight or flight. I got to fight now. And it's like, no, you're not paying attention. And I think if you could separate that, you'll actually get more out of it, than just a warm up itself too. Like if you move correctly, you could see that you're moving through fluidity and actual like chaining, like moves, chaining your movements and your sequences, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if there's an opportunity there for like when you give that instruction and then you're like walking around watching people to kind of tap people and be like, hey.
Oh, I do it.
You do it?
I do it. I walk over to people. I'm like, you're getting a little aggressive.
Like,
slow it down.
Yeah. Relax.
I go focus on movement. I did that last time. It was last Saturday. It was a smaller class. And
this is a lot of the newer guys are really, really like.
That's what I did it to.
Stiff.
It was mostly the white belts.
Very rigid.
Yeah. Well, it's like
normal. That's normal.
Dude, I can't even tell you how many times me and Trottini, we're so fucking funny in that sense.
I mean, we all, the 3 of us do it with each other.
We'll be like, oh yeah, I'm tired. You want to just flow? Yeah, we'll flow. Like 3 minutes in, all of a sudden, I'm like, that didn't. It started off as a flow. That did not end as a flow.
But there is something special about fighting with one of your friends of 20 years. Too.
I want to make it a goal.
This is for everything.
Like I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna do that soon. I think I'm gonna do 1 week of letting the person I'm rolling with know that, hey, I'm gonna competitively roll with you. I'm gonna bring it up a notch, all right? And then
you can do it every other roll. And
then the next week, just flow. Like the entire week, like force myself just to flow. And if I'm not flowing and the other person is going hard and their competitiveness is getting in, well, okay, cool. I'm flowing. If I can't control the space by flowing and by just using my position, then I need to work on where that space is and where my leverage is and my push pull. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Push pull.
So back to
Nicholas Meregali and Lovato.
Yeah.
Go into
yeah. So we had I guess a couple chops here that we wanted to share.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the fights first.
Yeah.
And what happened.
Yeah.
What was the name of the event?
WNO.
What
was that?
WNO.
Yeah, but what was it though? I know it's WNO. Was it the?
Shit. It was
like something the best of the best. It wasn't that at all, but it was something along those lines. Anyway, but Gordon Ryan, Jersey born, native to our fellow, he actually, funny enough, Raji trained with him. For anybody that's listening in that doesn't know this, when Raji trained in Brunswick with Gary Tonin, both Gordon Ryan and his brother were there, and Gordon was just a kid at that point. I think he was a blue belt as well, but now he's world champion. He's definitely like a face for jiu-jitsu, as in today's standards. He's like the biggest name. Well, he's one of the biggest names for sure. I don't know if I want to say the biggest. He's changing the sport a little bit because he's bringing it different light
easily
to it. Because
top 2, top 3 names.
Yeah, top 5 for sure, top 3. I don't know if I necessarily agree with all his tactics. He talks a lot of shit. He's like Conor McGregor in that sense. He backs a lot of shit up. He's a good practitioner. I know a lot of people hate on him because of the shit talking and whatnot, but he does bring a lot of eyes and attention to the sport, so that's always a good thing. It could go into the topic that we've been talking about, if money is really destroying combat sports. It's what's destroyed boxing, in a lot of ways, because it becomes more of a spectacle than the best versus the best. But it also creates storylines. I don't know, it makes it fun for me. Fight's a fight, scrap's a scrap, violence is violence. For some reason, that's what we're into. I can make arguments on both sides. I don't necessarily agree with one or the other.
Without peace,
it's a balance.
Without war, there's no peace.
Yeah, it's a balance, and we've had this conversation in previous episodes too. It's like
we would be rehashing.
It's annoying to one. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's annoying in one hand. Like, okay, why does this guy have to do so much trash talk? Is it that necessary? But then, like, on the other hand, like you said, like some people really like that, and it brings awareness, and some people just love to hate, right? That's the whole concept of the heel.
Well, that's right. Well,
the hero and the heel.
But think about it. When it's a heel, when a heel's involved, and
you still tune in to watch him lose.
Now it's storylines, and now it becomes a spectacle. It's no longer about the sport. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. To me, it adds to it, and it's not like.
At the end of the day, it's asses in the seats, right?
So let's get to Gordon in a second here. I didn't watch the Mika Galvao. I did watch the Mika Galvao Alan Sanchez fight.
We watched it together.
I know, but I was a lot of things were going on. I was paying attention to like too many stuffs. But what I did see was Mika just controlled that entire match.
It was quick. It wasn't. I mean, he's gonna be. He's already a superstar, kind of. And to the purists, everyone really knows jiu-jitsu, knows how good he is, but he's gonna be probably be number one.
He's
ranked number 1.
Born 2003.
He's young.
He's 54, 3-4.
Yeah, he's a phenom.
Unbelievable.
He's young, and he's gonna be for the next 5 to 10 years probably top 3 name, as long as he stays healthy and doesn't get into trouble or whatever. And sticks with it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the camaraderie during the event of all the Brazilians wearing the Brazilian soccer rash guard. That was pretty cool. Wish we'd see the Americans do something like that.
No, we hate each other.
We're too divided amongst each other.
Yeah.
So after the Mika Galvao fight, we had what I thought was the best fight of the night with Rafael Lovato Jr. and Nicholas Meregali.
That was a good fight. I mean, it's crazy because I know you haven't seen a lot of Lovato Jr.'s fights, but he's like going in, I thought he was going to win. Only because what's his name didn't have a lot of experience. I think he's been literally doing no-gi since February.
Right.
So like what, 4 matches or something like that? I don't even know if it was that.
But with how good, he's one of the best in the world in the gi. I mean,
world champ.
We watched like 10 minutes of him doing bow and arrow chokes on like the toughest black belts in the world, and it was
each one was dirtier than the last.
Oh my god, it was unbelievable.
He was just so good at getting in the back and then like climbing up top high and either getting.
He was like an assassin sneaking up on you to cut your throat. That's what it was like watching
Yeah.
it over and over and over
It
and
was
over
like
again.
Green Beret, that new jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It was just,
Green Beret Jiu-Jitsu.
yeah.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, he was just fucking him up. Is he part of the Danaher new like death squad? Or whatever
Yeah,
the fuck you want to call him? He trains with them. At
Yeah,
least,
he
right?
trains with them. Yes.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
And then, oh, mate, yeah, Danaher's super Australian, right? He's from Australia.
Yeah, it was funny though when
thought
we
it
were
was New
watching
Zealand.
Maybe, right?
his
Same
interview
thing.
the other day, and I swear, like the first 4 minutes of it, I was like, "Where's his accent? Where is it?" And then it seemed to come back, but I don't know if it's just the words he was using.
He's been here for a lot of years.
So his voice
It does dissipate when you've been.
his voice does two things
Stateside.
to me. It either puts me into like a rabbit hole of me listening to him and like jujitsu expanding in my brain, like
And then you can't get past his rash guard wearing every day, son
Or-
of a bitch, and you're just like, "What the fuck, you nerd?"
or I just
That's
fall
what I
asleep.
No, wear our rash guards every day.
Or I just
I
fall
condone.
asleep.
He always wears a rash guard. You go. They show videos. He goes out to dinner. He's wearing a
Oh,
rash
maybe
guard.
he's a rashy
goes-
guy.
And the
Goes to
and
a
the fanny
funeral.
pack
Goes to a funeral. He's wearing a.
and the fanny
Rash guard.
pack. He just changes the.
This is a tuxedo rash guard.
Oh my!
No, it's just a No, he's true to himself. He wears a rash guard and his like little pants, his sneakers.
He's like, "Oh, mate, say something about it."
He looks like he showers in that rash guard.
It looks like he never takes it off.
So Len, you want to show that Meregali takedown? Shit was nice. It was Uchimata, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, man.
Uchimata takedown.
I don't think so.
I think it is, bro. I asked
Oh, this one.
Yep.
With his teammates, Victor Hugo.
Yeah, it's the Uchimata.
Yeah,
Uchimata.
the way he
Yeah.
steps the leg over.
Mhm.
Or-
So you see they get the double
Lovato
unders.
Juniors with the blue.
Lovato
Yeah.
tries to negate it, but Meregali
Oh,
comes,
Meregali.
comes in and gets his hips close to be able to get the Uchimata in.
It says it right down here. Lovato Jr. Blue.
No, Eddie's saying the rash guard.
Oh, sorry. I was talking about the strike on their angle.
Yeah.
Can we play that back one more time?
I don't. I want to show when he was trying to get him up in X guard and how he did the step pass.
So
Step
if
through.
you stop here, you'll see that Meregali got his underhooks, and Lovato tried to sprawl with his underhooks to negate any type of action there. But as you
how
see
he brought his
Meregali,
hip- he brought his hips up. He changed the angle.
so that he get close to the
Yeah.
hips, and he does this seamlessly.
Mhm.
Something considerable.
Mind you, Lovato Jr. I read was the first American to win gi nationals
Brazil.
in Brazil. That's crazy. That's nuts.
enemy territory.
That's like a Japanese player coming to play baseball in the United States and owning the home run championship for the year, or home run record for the year. Like that's crazy.
Or just being the MVP in the World Series.
Or MVP in the World Series. That's a good, right? Yeah, that's probably a better example.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we had another part earmarked here.
Oh, dude, this
oh, the step through.
this step through, man. It's like the
way
Matrix,
backsteps,
bro.
The way back steps when he's got him tangled up in like, it's kind of like an X guard. And
Yeah, right there. You want to go back a little bit.
I was a little past it.
sit down a bit.
So you'll
This
see.
is beautiful. So he's opening up the legs right here. Lovato's trying to go for single X into X guard.
Goes to invert to take the
yeah,
leg.
look at the way he backstepped there.
Well, and he goes through the legs too.
crazy.
The timing when he tried to get him in the crab ride, like the timing of this back step is
passing.
look at here. He's gonna
And through the legs.
He's gonna invert. The minute he inverts, right here, he gets on his shoulder, he inverts. Watch the back step. Boom! Right through the legs.
man.
Over the leg.
That is so
Right through the
cool.
legs.
Yeah.
That's pure experience right there.
Absolutely.
He did it a couple times because Lovato was really, I guess, that's his game a little bit, and he was really
We
trying
can keep
to
it playing while we're talking about it.
Yeah, and he was
Wow.
yeah, because I could comment as it's going.
Until he came in for that double.
But yeah, like watch.
Look
He
at this.
does it again
Look at this.
He does it a couple times. That's what's impressive.
Rafael Lovato Jr.
because
Great position from which
Lovato
to
switched to the other leg this
launch a
time,
variety of
and the way he
attacks.
literally
Lovato
does it
exposed a
the
few
other
here,
way.
but Meregali
Oh my
looked
goodness, bro.
And look,
that
now,
tactic, maybe.
right
Stays
to,
on top,
you know,
but
I
kind of
just
same
feel Lovato.
position, but then he eventually, knee slices and
there
back.
is the footwork.
He does this a couple times until he passes the side control.
And you
But it's the timing because it wears your opponent down. You keep doing that. So it never really gives the opponent on the bottom a chance, like Lovato, a chance to really feel like control. Like he slips out right here. Now this is what he does in the side control. Why? Because he went back and forth from both ends, both X guards, and basically got out 3 times the same way. And that's just being a step ahead. Yeah, dude. I mean, kudos to Lovato for surviving. But yeah, he just had control over Lovato the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, Meregali's going to quickly.
Meregali definitely had like the superior grappling control.
I think we're going to look at Meregali a year and a half from now. I would imagine he's probably
he's what 24 or some shit.
Yeah, you know what's interesting too about these. I was thinking about it. You know, now that I'm getting into watching jiu-jitsu more, because as we'll talk about with fundamentals later for each belt, like I truly believe I got to get my vocabulary to a much higher level to be able to communicate. But watching Meregali, dude, this guy's he's gonna be unbelievable. And with jiu-jitsu, you can fight in theory a lot closer than you can with any other combat sport, because the damage that you take is really just, unless you get hurt, the damage you're taking in a jiu-jitsu fight is just you're gonna get tired. So you're gonna need
jiu-jitsu. You need to jiu-jitsu. People do jiu-jitsu until they're 70s.
Yeah, it's
right?
minimal.
80s, right? Just
it's more wear and tear injuries, you know,
neck,
arthritis,
back.
If you're in the gi, cartilage, things like that.
I think it's more on what you do outside of jiu-jitsu, honestly.
Well, to counteract some of those effects, yeah, for sure.
No, I don't even mean that. I mean just like I think jiu-jitsu. Well, yeah, food, but I mean like jiu-jitsu on a whole is not really gonna. You can do that for a long time. The longevity of jiu-jitsu is probably higher than definitely the highest of all combat sports, right? Would you agree with that? And then I would think as a discipline or a sport or a hobby that you do, I feel like your body can last the longest doing it outside of like, you know, having some outside injuries or outside issues that I don't even think necessarily. Yeah, you can have like maybe like a career jiu-jitsu ending injury from jiu-jitsu itself, but I feel like that's so much more rare compared to like injuries that you would sustain from another sport or hobby that would just knock you out way earlier on in your life. I feel like jiu-jitsu longevity is just higher than most things.
So just going back real quick, because we had Hot Neil commenting that Meregali's awareness of his leg position is just great.
Oh, dude.
And all
really
the new wave guys are really so aware of leg locks. So
that's true. That's a very
you know
good
how to
point.
escape them.
Yeah.
You'll see these back steps and stuff are just in different, just different.
Yeah, you just know how to like move your legs out of the entanglements better.
Yeah.
Like these guys are more aware of it, but that's just how it's going to be. The sport's going to continue to evolve. I also think it'll evolve where eventually just come back. Like it kind of goes in a cycle. Oh yeah, sure. Pendulum or cycle.
There's trends in all sports, right?
Yeah. Like right now, like think about it, like bring up baseball games, but this year is not really a hitting year. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
home run hitting year.
Sure. But I would even say batting averages are low. You know,
they are low, and they changed the baseball, and then like
that's why.
But
yeah.
That's what's pretty cool about jiu-jitsu is you can only really change the rule sets, which is a good segue to the.
Well, jiu-jitsu is an art.
Gordon
It's
Ryan.
called an art for a reason, right?
Felipe Pena.
You can kind of but like in jiu-jitsu, you can kind of like paint your own like path. You paint your own picture of what your jiu-jitsu is going to be. You know.
So we were starting to talk on Gordon's antics and.
Yeah, we're getting off topic. Sorry.
And how he brings a lot of energy to the sport. So it's a lot surrounding this fight. The death of Leandro Lo in Brazil, and Felipe Pena being very close with Leandro Lo. They were best friends, right?
They're
I thought-
training partners. I don't know if they're best friends.
I think they kind of were considered like very, very close friends.
Well, I mean, all right. So I heard that he tried pulling out of the fight earlier. Or see, this is where it gets fucking weird because he obviously, who anybody that watched didn't watch, 44 minutes. That's how long the match was. There was a no time submission only match. And they were going until 44 minutes. And then Pena, actually, I think he quit twice, which is funny because maybe like 10 minutes earlier, he got up and he went to the booth, remember?
Mhm.
And they were talking to him and they're like, what is he saying? What's going on? And
Said like the 30-minute mark.
it didn't even make sense because they asked him, like, are you done? Like, what's going on? He just didn't answer. So the ref came and was like, you got to fucking fight. What are you doing? And it was like he was buying himself time. Obviously, the match got to his head. The fact that Leandro Lo, who is very closely connected to, died. But it's like, then you should have just said, I don't want to do the match altogether. But he tried negotiating different rule set. And Gordon Ryan was like, no, I'm not doing that. Let's actually have this fight. Let's do it in the honor of Leandro Lo. Like, he was a former competitor. Gordon Ryan's competed against him. He didn't know him personally, but he's like, I partied with him once and he was a really nice guy. And I respect him. He's a 8-time world champion. He was only 32. But he was like, let's do this for him. Obviously, Pena agreed to it. He was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. But then he got emotional and he verbally tapped. He got to 44 minutes and it wasn't even losing the fight. It was a very stalemate of a fight, essentially. Yeah, like Gordon had some takedowns. And like he started ramping it up in the last couple minutes before he was like, I'm done. But dude, you remember the way he was threading in that single X, like the way he was threading his legs through?
Yep.
And he was negating for fucking like 20 minutes. He was negating everything Gordon Ryan was trying to do. And Gordon Ryan was like, oh, I was only going like 50%. At the hour mark, I was going to turn it up. It's like within the first I shouldn't say 3 minutes. It was like the first 8 minutes they were standing up and they were playing patty cake. And they were just not doing anything. And then it was fucking hilarious because somebody in the audience was like, I got work in the morning. And then Pena was like, it was funny. I was kind of half rooting for Pena at that point. And Pena was like, I didn't make the rule set, you know? And, they were obviously both conserving energy because it's
Timeless.
Timeless.
Yeah.
So like, I'm telling you, 20 seconds, that got to Gordon's head a little bit. 20 seconds after that guy yelled that out, he just sat down.
Yep.
I was like, okay. So then, remember, within that minute after he sat down, he spun. He did like kind of a Barambola kind of roll where he got to the back. It wasn't necessarily a Barambola. I can't remember what it was, but he got to the back. And then Pena got out like quick. And it's like, you could have finished the fight if you could have, you know what I mean? But to say that you were only going 40% at the time that the fight ended, it's like, you're like, I get it. He's arrogant and he won the fight. And he obviously got to a point where he drew Pena out. Regardless, he won. Pena in the post-fight interview made the excuses like, my head wasn't in it. I just couldn't do it. I wanted to win for Leandro Lo, but I just couldn't do it. Like, the emotions got the best of him. I think it was a cop-out. I think it could be arguable that, like, nah, you would fucking fight. Especially this guy's been talking shit and you've been pissed about that talks. You beat him twice, too.
Yeah.
So you couldn't beat him this time. Granted, I thought Pena did a really good job, like I said, threading his legs to get single X and to keep putting himself in that position where Gordon could not pass. And he was just sitting in a position where he was stretched out, trying to keep balance because his legs were spread. He's threading. He has X guard. His legs are wrapped around his one leg. So he's just keeping him in like an off balance, like where he has to stabilize. And not much is going on other than Pena just kept doing that every time Gordon tried to pass and he couldn't pass. Obviously, I think both got tired. I think Gordon, I'll give him this, man. I'll give Gordon one, not because of the shit he was saying. I think maybe mentally.
Pena was on the defense the entire time. And not only was he on the defense the entire time, but he also had many moments in the fight where it was like, what's going on? Like when they went out of bounds, he was on the ground. And the
Well,
referee
he took him down before they went out of
yeah,
bounds.
and the ref was like, okay, you got to start from the ground, and
He
he
didn't
was
want
like,
to.
no.
That was another weird moment. It was like
It's
a minute.
really
it was like,
weird.
It was like 30 seconds to a minute. Them like, you have to go down.
So
That's
here-
where you
so
were
here's-
positioned.
So here's my thing, and not to say that I'm against him, but I'm playing devil's advocate. You know,
Oh, Hot Neil just confirmed they were best friends.
yeah, they were best friends. So if Leandro Lo's death was the problem,
Neil.
like Gordon Ryan said,
A source familiar
if it
with
was
the
a
matter.
problem, then why is he sitting here making the fight is like he's bigger than the fight? That's why he gets to argue shit. That's why he'll make comments during the fight. That's why he's smiling and talking shit to Gordon Ryan, because just like Gordon Ryan makes him like he's like bigger than the sport. Well, so was Felipe Pena. He was doing the same exact shit. He was on the same level of like, well, this is my fight and I get to do whatever I want. No, I'm not going to sit and guard, even though the referee is telling me to. You get what I'm saying?
No, I think that was ego. I think because of the trash talking, I think he said it at the end. He was like, this guy is great on the mats, but this guy has no heart. And I think he emotionally got affected by everything because he thinks Gordon Ryan's a piece of shit. He thinks all he does is talk shit. He doesn't have respect for the sport, although he will give him credit that he is amazing.
So where is
jiu-jitsu
Pena's ego not questioning this?
In what sense?
I don't want to fight because my friend died and I don't have it in me.
I think he quit. He
What is
quit.
that? Well, I wouldn't call that ego, bro.
Because
That's-
he
that ain't
got
ego.
into the fight. He got into the fight and he realized, okay, I don't have what it takes to stay in this right now mentally. He stopped the fight.
He admitted
He
to
verbally
it, though.
tapped. He admits that he couldn't do the fight, but then he's like, but this guy's a bitch and he has no heart. And he's trying to call him out for the stuff.
You also
I don't
gave
want
him
to sound like
credit.
an apologist for Ryan, but at the same time, like he's showing like
that's not a gracious
flip-floppiness
loss.
too.
No,
not
it's
a
not.
gracious
It's
loss,
not.
but-
All right, sure. That's just
Wishy-washy, not
It's a cop out.
flip-floppy.
You're making an excuse, right? He could have
Yes,
said that.
that's my
point.
He
Yeah.
could have said that in another interview. He could have just been like, "Listen, my head wasn't," but he was honest. So to me, someone with an ego is not going to be that honest. I think what you mean by ego is he still was emotionally invested, so he
Right.
had to make a comment like, "This guy." Although he did give him credit, he said, "This guy's great on the mat."
Yeah, if I'm like,
But he's not a good person.
But Eddie, if I'm like, no disrespect, but your mother's a whore. Like that, you know
That's
what I'm
not the
saying?
same
Like
at
it's
all. No,
it
it's
is the
not.
same because he's giving him a backhanded compliment. It's saying, oh yeah, he's great on the mats, but he isn't human. It's shitting on him. It's saying that he doesn't even deserve to be on the mats.
I mean,
he I don't know. He lost. He was upset about it. I'm sure his head was in a weird space. I mean, is he typically like this?
I don't think so.
Do we know it? Right?
But-
You know what I mean? I mean, you're going to be a little bit of a basket
I
case
mean,
of a head case on a day when
Yeah.
your best friend
didn't
gets
have-
shot and killed in a nightclub.
He shouldn't have fought. I really don't think
he
should have
shouldn't
fought.
have. No,
Yeah.
I think
that's-
that's where ego comes in.
That's kind of what I was getting.
We're like, no, I'm going to go in
Okay,
there and go at it anyway. Maybe he felt
I have to agree with Lenny
somewhat
here. Like, that's where I
inspired by the
think ego-
death of Leandro.
That was my
maybe
point
I
bringing up
need
ego
to go
before.
out
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that if he were smart and he really would have thought about it, I mean, we talked about this before the show. Gordon offered him a reschedule.
Right.
He was being gracious then. So is he
Then
really
he
that
wanted-
bad of a guy?
No, I don't think Gordon ever offered.
Someone
another.
said that.
Yes.
Did they?
Why don't you play the clip, Len, of it's a minute there.
Is that lined up for where it should be? So
Yeah.
we'd be talking about it then.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, then yeah. Then why did he? Because he even said it at the.
Don't go through the breakdown video where that starts at 133, that ends at 133, start at 133 and
Yeah.
forward.
All right, so yeah, fair then. Like, if he did say like gave him the out, then like why make the excuse? I didn't know that. So like, why make the excuse at the end of the fight? Sure, if you had the out, but I thought that was the thing. I thought Gordon Ryan was like, no, let's do this. Let's do it for Leandro Lo. Let's do it in his honor, and let's put on a great performance for the fans, is what he said.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't to me sound like he was trying to let him go with it. But what Gordon was pissed about was the fact that he tried negotiating different like rule set. Now, to me, that's ego. That's like you're using the death of your best friend as an excuse to changed the rule
He
set
was like 30,
last second,
30,
and then
30 minutes to an hour or
it's gonna be different at
or
80.
draw.
It's gonna be different at 80cc though, man, because it's gonna be
it's
15 minutes,
They gotta go all out.
and it's gonna be points. There's gonna be a winner. There's like I think what's his name? He just was like, this could go on forever, and I don't want to fucking like his emotions got to the best of him, and I think it's because he felt Gordon Ryan was probably gonna beat him.
So check this out.
Checking it out. Still checking.
Because he was just done. He just said, "Okay, man, I'll stop." Like he had no more, and he was exhausted. And he's just like, "Okay, I'll stop." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." And then he just started bitching on the mic. I had something so nice come out and say, and I know it was hard for him to come out and compete when the thing that just happened with Leandro. And it's very sad that what just happened. But at the same time, like this is business. And I went out to compete. Not the day after, but within I think a month when my dad died, and that was hard. So I could see how it was hard for Felipe to come out and compete tonight. But Felipe was just trying to game the system. Like Felipe always tries to change the rules. There's always an excuse, and this wasn't really an excuse, but he called float today and he was like, "I'm not going to do it unless it's 30 minutes or an hour long. I want to do 30 minutes or draw." Was his thing, and I'm like, dude, like, if you're either not okay to compete, in which case you should just pull out and we should reschedule the match, or if you're going to compete, it doesn't matter how long you compete for. Like, if you're going to step on that and you're mentally ready to step on that at all, it doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes or 2 hours. Like, you're ready to go.
So look again. I don't think it's a big deal that Pena was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I realize I don't have this in my head.
I wouldn't have been mad if he
I'm
didn't
not upset
do it.
with it. What I'm upset with is that
No, he
acted like a little bit of a brat.
He acted like a bitch.
Even before the fight started, he's being a brat because he's calling Flo and saying, "Oh, I want to change the rules to something else because, that means it's going to be better for me."
Yeah.
Yeah, and that at that point that makes no sense because you've already agreed to the terms.
Exactly.
You don't come out last minute. Horrible what happened to you and the loss of your friend, but you already agreed. You know what I mean?
I also think these no time limits, I think that they're good for the sport, but I don't think that it should be all the time. I think it should be like every once in a while you do these.
Well,
you don't do them all the time.
And it should be only the main event.
Right. Only the main event. Otherwise, what was it like a month ago? Who was it that fought? Dude,
I forgot. It was like
dude,
an hour plus long.
they fought, I think it was close to 2 hours. They had to move the match to mats in the
They had
back.
a small screen of it, and then they put the next match on the big screen. It's like when you're watching the Red Zone. It's like I don't want to fucking see all these different matches going at the same time.
How could you be so evenly matched that you just go for 2 hours and no one makes a mistake?
No, it's impressive that not one of them broke. Like that's even more impressive that like you said, that just the longevity of the match just kept going because they're like no quitting them. That's some that's why I like the comparison to jiu-jitsu is kind of like we're a bunch of sharks in the sea, bro. And it's just about like who can bear the depths of the sea, you know what I mean? And you get dragged out in those deep waters, man. You really find out who you are. It's kind of
and you focus too hard on one thing, you forget about another, and that's where you get caught.
Oh, you make mistakes, or you get tired, or you mentally break and mentally get tired, and it's a whole nother thing. And that's obviously what happened to Pena, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And like we've
tapped
kind
the
of
side control
alluded to a couple times, and those of you who follow Jiu-Jitsu News already know about this. But we mentioned that he lost his friend. There's a tragic murder.
Yeah. So what happened was
Leandro Lo.
So the guy's in custody now, right?
Yeah.
He turned himself in, and we'll get to that story. I guess after we kind of bring this up and honor Lo a little bit here. So when was the date? It was August 7th.
Last Sunday. It happened like early morning. I don't know, like 1 or 2. They were at a club. I believe the official story, if this is correct, is they were in like not like a VIP section, but they were in a section where they had bottles. They ordered bottles of like whatever they had, and this wasn't an actual unmarked well, not unmarked, but on
He was an
off
unmarked,
duty.
unmarked detective.
Off duty. I don't know why I thought like unmarked
Because
car,
unmarked car, yeah.
but
That makes
off
sense.
duty cop. Basically, I guess purposely fucked with the dude. He took the group's bottles or whatever. So they got up and I guess just started turning into like a bit of a scruff. And Leandro Lo, 8-time world champion. He's only 32. He's a monster. Probably took him down with ease, mounted him apparently. Was like, "Are you done?" Got the stuff back, got up, guy pulled his gun out, shot him.
Yeah,
Like
crazy.
So with that being said,
Shot him in the head.
Right in the head.
Right in the head.
And what's
In front of everybody.
and reading that, and like he was beloved, and obviously the cops in Brazil are like extremely corrupt, but
But I thought this happened in the United States.
no, this
Oh, no, I'm
happened in
sorry.
Brazil.
I get it.
It
Yeah, I
was
was
in
getting
Brazil.
confused because of the name of the city.
Yeah.
It's Indianapolis.
So is it really?
Yeah.
No way. That's crazy. Indianapolis, Brazil.
I don't know. That's what I heard. That's why I was confused when I first heard it.
No, yeah, it was in Brazil.
it was in Brazil.
I could be
don't
completely
remember.
making that up, but I thought it was.
He was
Well, that's why. No, when I first heard the story, I saw it was in Brazil, and then I saw something about Indianapolis, a club in Indianapolis, and I was like, "Wait, what?
maybe that was
Happened
the
in the
name of it.
States?"
Maybe that was the name of the club. I don't know.
And we'll look into that further.
Fact
But
check that shit. Anyway, so
So he got shot in the head, and what like blew my mind, unfortunately we read about deaths all the time, and people, tragic endings and whatnot, so you become desensitized to all that. But when I read that he was brain dead, like his heart was beating, his brain
he'll
isn't
never be
gonna-
able to function.
they'll
again.
never be able to function again, so they had to pull the plug there.
So
Like that is
Well,
just
yeah,
even
when
more
you're-
of an impact, I think, on the story.
Here's what's fucked up to me about the whole situation, because it makes you think on a level that's deeper, because like what I think jiu-jitsu does for people and confidence and instills, like if Leandro Lo wanted to, he could have murdered that guy.
Mhm.
That guy would have never had a chance to pull the gun out and shoot him. So like it instills a confidence in us that we can negate fights to the point where we could just literally pin a guy, control him, and be like, bro,
demoralize
is
them
this
until they
is this
give
worth
up.
it? I literally have your life in my hands. But because I have such training and I'm kind of a killer, but I'm a controlled killer, I can let you go. He let him go, and he was taken advantage of, and he got shot and killed. So like, as important as I think that is to instill in people to go and train, and I'm confident that you can handle yourself, because instead of just acting out of violence, you'll mitigate a situation, or you'll just probably most likely you should walk away from a situation. So it's like it brings up that, oh fuck, it's good that people step in and like do that and control somebody. Like that's why I think cops should learn jiu-jitsu, so there's less like cop killings. But at the same time, now this goes into a deeper conversation why cops have guns. I think why anybody should have a fucking gun. And now I can make the argument for why 2A works. It's why it works in our country. That's why like other countries it doesn't work out. That's why they're controlled. They're not free, because they don't have a right to bear arms to protect themselves. And it's like, now I can make the argument that if Lo had a gun, would he been able to actually protect himself after he protected himself initially to control the situation? So it's like a weird complex
I don't know.
situation.
I mean, in a situation like this, it's like, would he had time to react to a draw?
I don't
I
know.
mean, he just let the
But
guy
what
up.
if
The
the
guy
guy
probably
kno-
got right up, pulled his gun, drew on him, and shot him
Well,
right.
if
I
you
don't
know
think
someone
I
has-
don't think civilians can have guns in Brazil.
Not in Brazil, but I'm saying
No,
in
that
general.
changes
I'm
things.
saying in general, like the importance of it.
Yeah, so I wanted to go back to the beginning of the topic, but to answer your question, like yes, I think that it's important to have 2A, but I also think that we're lacking in our country in training and in making it more of an acceptable thing. Because if you had more people trained, you had more acceptance of it being a protection, well then the level of responsibility that you would have across the country, there would be less crime, in my opinion.
Yeah, but all right. Well, there'd be less crime if things weren't manipulated and the media didn't lie, and also
Right.
like steer people to basically pit people against each other.
Right. Thus,
Right?
if you
That's a whole nother fucking topic we could discuss. But if first of all, just like anything else, right? When you do jujitsu and like when you handle yourself, you're gonna handle yourself in a more responsible way, and how you approach like a situation, right? Like again, I say this: Leandro Lo was taking advantage of because he had that guy's life in his hands.
Time out. Show human nature here. So people who are learning jujitsu, you'll find that they still cause danger for other people, and they put them in situations. That's why
there's
good training partners and good gyms are
shits out there.
Exactly.
I'm not saying there isn't.
So that's kind of what I mean. A good argument against everybody being armed is that you're going to have assholes out there too.
There's still going to be less crime.
I agree.
Doesn't matter.
With you.
It doesn't matter.
Turned himself in too a couple days later. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna unshare the screen. If anybody out there knows a good ad blocker, please. We could really benefit from one. I can't stand all the ads that are coming up with this shared screen, so I'm gonna. I apologize to anybody watching. Yeah, it's really bad.
Get your T-shirts from Classic Tees. Thanks.
Yeah.
No, but like, that's why I say it's complex, because it's like, at what point someone out of the group just go, yo, just go get fucking security. There's security cameras. They'll kick this guy out. We'll probably get a free bottle. At what point do you just go, let this fucking drunken asshole just let him go? You know, you said it. It was interesting to me. I don't necessarily agree with it, but you're like, I think it was a hit. I think the guy provoked the situation so he could shoot him.
Because when the guy grabbed the bottle, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said something along the lines of like, here, come get it. Like I think Leandro said, hey man, that's ours. Put it back down. And he said, why don't you come get it, champ? He said something along those lines.
So he knew him.
So he knew who he was. And when he took him down and humiliated him, he got back up and shot him, because in the back of that guy's head, he was like,
he was drunk and he was humiliated and he was angry.
Yeah. What I'm actually
I think
surprised,
it was premeditated.
What I'm surprised
Why would you turn yourself in after that then?
Because he has no choice.
Yeah, but if it was premeditated, I mean, you don't go into the middle of, I mean, unless you're crazy. I don't think.
Look at this guy's track record just here.
Murder someone in front of all these people.
Just answered yourself though, too, Lenny.
Think about the track record in this whole situation. The guy's fucking nuts. So he was on this path of, and he probably just accepted the fact. He was like, whatever, I'm the guy who killed Leandro Lo.
I wonder if there's any history there that will turn up afterwards.
Well, again, do we have all the facts in? Probably not. So
we never have all the facts.
Yeah, so there could be more to it, no doubt.
Before I get back to your question on this topic, which was yours, did you bring up Neil's comments on Gordon versus Pena? I thought that was good.
No, because they came in like 10 minutes after we were talking about it.
All right, so
moving on.
Just a quick.
Moving on.
We're at an hour already.
It doesn't matter. I think it's good.
Everyone can read the comments at home.
Next time, get it in quicker.
There you go.
They can read the comments at home.
All right. So the question, I want to discuss the first part of the question, because the first part of the question is good. With the death of Leandro Lo and the dangers we face, even with the knowledge that we've obtained through jiu-jitsu to defend ourselves and negate conflict, when is it worth engaging versus just walking away? Is it always just safer to just have? Oh, I'm sorry, that was the second part. So, when is it worth engaging versus just walking away?
Well, I think in that situation, right? They're all drinking, so obviously Leandro Lo. See, like, here's where I think he made the mistake. Should have held the guy down until security came. That's it. But it sucks that didn't happen. I'm not saying he did the right or wrong thing. I think they're at a club. Drinking's involved. He just did enough to like, I'm just going to pin you and be like, you good? You done? I don't know why you're fucking with us. I'm going to let you go now. And then he became a nice guy. And I think he fucked up there. I think he should have just held him down. Be like, get some fucking security. Because in my head, I would be like, you good? I don't want to fucking get up. You're going to start shit again. You know what I mean? Because then I got to really hurt you. You know what I mean?
If you mount someone like that and you don't know them and you know jiu-jitsu, do a pat down.
Well, yeah, I don't know if maybe you should start thinking like that. That's like,
you really never know, man.
Just think about how
it's probably
much
better to just walk away.
Think about how much combat.
I mean, that's scary too, because if you think somebody was concealing a gun, that you wouldn't feel that when you were mounted them. You can tell he's got something under his shirt.
Again, I don't know. I don't know all the details.
Well, I mean, if it's in your sock, it's like a little 22. He definitely didn't get shot by a 22.
No.
Possible. If you went brain dead, you got shot in the head, and
you see the picture.
I mean, I saw the video.
Large
entry. It was not a 22.
It's a large entry.
I mean, yeah, you're right. But
it might even have been what's in between a 30-aught. No, that's a rifle round.
38.
Yeah,
could have been a 40.
Could have been a 40 or 38.
Well, I don't think it was a 45. .45 would have
No.
been much bigger.
Yeah. Could have been a 9mm.
But think about
It
this
could've been.
with Leandro Lo's combat experience. He holds the record for the most IBJJF world titles in different weight classes. He's taken gold in lightweight, middleweight, medium heavyweight, and absolute divisions. And he got split second. Just made the decision of, okay, I've held this guy down long enough. I don't care anymore. I'm getting up. And within seconds, his life was over.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a tragedy, man.
So at the end of the day, this question of when is it worth engaging versus just walking away, it kind of makes it sound like walking away is
almost never.
Like right. Engaging
Almost
is
never.
almost never the answer.
You have to be attacked, I think.
You have to be attacked first.
Again, like I feel horrible even saying like he made the mistake, because
Life's
honestly,
filled with
man,
decisions and
but
consequences.
you don't know
man.
what you're gonna fucking do in that situation. So for me,
And alcohol.
Monday morning quarterbacking this whole fucking thing, it's easy for me to be like, yeah, just walk away. You don't
Hindsight
again,
is always 20/20.
I am not like a I don't really like conflict, so I'm probably most likely instinctively going to be the person that like walks away from something. But I will hold my ground. I will puff my chest out if I have to fake like being bigger than I am in a sense. You know what I mean? But at the same time, the whole time in my head, I'm like, all right, I hope this doesn't escalate. I really don't want to do this right now. And then, but I know if it does get to the point where I'm attacked, I know I can hold my own, or at least I'm going to try, and I will scrap in that moment. But I'm not I shy away from
Yeah.
actual
I think
violence,
it comes down to, are you in danger or not?
I agree.
If you're in immediate danger and you have no other choice and you have to take action, that's the decision you make. Was he in danger because this guy was bullying him and his friends at a club? Probably not. But
Clearly
also
was,
the other thing,
though.
right? These guys, they grew up in Brazil. They're at a nightclub at 3 a.m. They're definitely not sober. And 3 a.m, you didn't just get to the bar either.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're wasted.
wasted. Whether he even got there,
They could have
late.
been on other things
This
too.
guy might not have even remembered when he woke up the next day, because he fled the scene, the article says. You know what I mean?
He didn't
Yeah.
forget that shit.
Well, I mean,
But I
adrenaline and
know
all
what
that
you're
stuff
saying.
is going
I know
to
what you're
start
saying.
bringing some more of that consciousness back to you, even if you're wasted. Right? The adrenaline, the action, the heart, the blood flow, all that. But yeah, I mean, they were inebriated, and that's just my educated guess of people in a club at 3 a.m.
So the second part of the original topic was,
And
is
you
it
know that-
always just safer to just have a gun as a last resort for self-defense, and why 2A is so important? I think that just the simple fact that the Supreme Court judge in New York ruling that self-defending yourself outside of your own property is valid. So once you leave the threshold of your own home, that you could be protected, you should be able to protect yourself now in public. I mean, that goes to show, and it goes back to what we just said, that you don't engage unless you're actually defending yourself. And if
Right.
you're defending yourself, now you have now you understand the responsibility of why you're holding that arm, why you are ready to defend yourself and your family. I think that when you do exercise your 2A right, you need to go to the extent of understanding your weapon, understanding.
You should have training. You should be prepared. You should know how to use it. You should know how to clean it. You should know how to basically take it apart and put it together.
In order to get a CCW, you need all of those things. Unless the place is constitutional carry, almost every other state that now issues, and obviously we'll see what changes happen with this.
Carry.
Yeah, we'll see what changes happen with this Supreme
What does the
Court
W
decision.
stand for?
Weapon.
Concealed carry weapon. Okay.
That's just how they refer to the license, though.
Right.
Most places do require some sort of training, which some even will argue is an impingement, on the right to be able to do that. I don't disagree necessarily, I guess, with the training.
I saw some.
It
of
just
the
depends
training
on
things.
what it is,
Makes
because
sense.
there's states like some of them require very frequent renewal of that and high fees to get it done and things like that. So
Kickback.
I mean, any
This is
places that this is totally for like a different even podcast.
Well, I was gonna make a point.
Not necessarily the adaptive podcast, but
I was gonna make a point. Like, yeah, all right, my dad's 81. When he went to high school, and that was like in the 50s and late 50s, they used to have guns at schools. There was absolutely zero, like any
restrictions.
Like, no. There was zero people like having mass shootings.
Oh
in
yeah,
schools.
yeah. That started what in like the 70s or so.
Now, again, people were different then. They learned how to use these things. They took it serious. You know, it was a part of everyday life. People were so uneducated. And it's like people actually buy into the shit that like guns kill people. It's not about the fucking tool. And either way, someone's going to find another tool to kill somebody if they need to, but they're going to get that weapon illegally. When my whole point is why I think 2As is so important and why in this situation, like it might have saved his life maybe, is it's an even playing field, and it makes everyone hesitant when there's the ability, when you're just not a cop, but anybody can have a gun. You're going to always second guess yourself when you're thinking like crazy shit in your head. Even a fucking murderer, even somebody that has a screw loose, that is consciously going to make a bad decision where they're going to fuck somebody up with a gun. If more people, if there's an awareness of society having guns, where people have more guns, you're going to think less of like fucking with people. You're just going to think more defensively than ever thinking offensively. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And armed society is a polite society, as they say.
And that's what I'm saying. Crime was way down. I think the Western civilization, why they're like, why is this a Western phenomenon? Well, one, yeah, because our citizens have guns, obviously. But also because I think we psychologically have fucked ourselves because of like how we manipulate everything. We're not an honest country. We're not honest with ourselves. The institutions, the corporations, the media, they all fucking lie. No one knows heads or, you know, like tails from anything. Everything's divided. So naturally you're going to have a lot of controversy and a lot of fucking violence and problems and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
And if you don't think that it's being coerced and navigated that way so they can gain control, which is like just common sense. Anyone can see through the bullshit. It's just like, that's why we train, right? So we can protect ourselves. It's the same thing. You fucking want to own a gun. You should train with it. You should know how to use it. You should respect it. You know, it's just like any other tool that you use to get by in life. So I think in that scenario, maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe he would have pulled out and he would have shot him. But what if his friends had a gun? That guy would have been taken out right away, and justice would have been served, and everyone else in the room be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna think twice."
I agree with everything you said. The only thing
here comes the pussy statement.
The only thing I would
kidding.
change is the only thing I would change is that the guy took the bottle. He said, "Come get it."
Oh, and your theory that goes along with your theory of like it being
he didn't have
purposely?
There was no situation here where he was defending himself. He was just defending his bottle.
Right.
Or I'm not saying for that guy.
Unfortunately, probably his ego too, because it's
absolutely.
This is my bottle. Who do you think you are?
You're taking my milk.
Probably could have been like, probably could have gotten security, and they probably would have gave him another bottle and fucking put this guy, kicked him out of the venue.
Well, murder is still illegal.
Of course it is.
And
my point is, it's not like he was defending himself. He murdered the guy. He wasn't like a self-defense murder.
That's not my point. My point is that the guy he engaged. He didn't attack him. He's not having to defend himself. The guy could have been like, "I got your bottle," and he could have been like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah, like was he just going to walk up to him and shoot him in the head?
No,
because of that. Yeah,
probably not. Unless again, going back
again, you don't know
if
what
he
was said
premeditated.
Before. You don't know.
We'll learn more, right? As more of the story comes out, the guy turned himself in. I don't know if he'll offer any sort of statement or right. He's obviously going to see his day in court. I don't know how Brazilian litigation works. Very different from the United States, I imagine. But yeah,
so
they allow their citizens to kill
the motorcyclists
that fucking steal from people.
That is pretty crazy. I've seen those videos.
Insane.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to
so we got the weekly roundup next, right? We're already at an hour and 10 minutes, so
yeah, I guess we could just go to the videos and we could save the fundamentals topic for a different time.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we have this first video that Eli, you pulled this one up. Police officers getting into a fight. 2 police officers getting into a fight with one guy. And yeah, so we'll show you guys the video and then we will comment on it.
Some more beer?
Yeah.
There's always
You
more
hook me
beer.
Whatever. Anything's in there.
We actually have, hold on, let me restart this because Henner Gracie is commenting on the video.
He's already attacked the officers, and now he's keeping his distance. The officer trying to corner him. The one officer tries to trip the suspect unsuccessfully, and now they're both going for the upper body, trying to control limbs. The officer gets dropped from a big right hand. Then he goes to attack the other officer, and at this point, 2 civilians step in to prevent further harm to the officers. One of them almost completely knocked out. So I want to offer free GST week-long certification training to both of these officers and free training at any certified training center for the 2 gentlemen who stepped in to prevent further harm to the officers. If you're a police chief or a defensive tactics coordinator, go to gracieuniversity.com/GST to learn how you can host a week-long instructor certification course at your agency for free.
So I'll do this again, but on mute though. I didn't realize he said he saw this video on Dan Bongino.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Gracie says it in the comments right here.
Whoever manages the distance manages the damage.
Yeah.
So it's Renner Gracie, not Henner, because
it's Henner.
she's American.
It's Henner.
It's Henner for the Brazilians.
Yeah.
Brazilians.
I think it's
So that's pretty crazy.
cool, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. that
And
he's
look, I mean,
offering.
these police officers didn't pull their guns out and start shooting this guy.
Video? I mean, no audio?
I played the audio already. And then we just
And
redid
they got their ass beat too. I mean, to the point where the civilians are like, "Hey, man, leave them alone."
They did. It's pretty wild to me too how when the civilians come up to the guy, like he doesn't start popping off on them too. He's just like, "No, I just want these 2 cops. Like I'm not gonna start swinging off on civilians too."
It doesn't say where this is, but I wonder where this is. It looks like it's near a beach, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's
you can
a
see.
port.
There's a port there. Yeah, seagulls and shit.
It's like Thailand or something.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what's the next one here? What is the next one?
Oh, this is a good video.
North South. Does this
Yeah.
have commentary too?
You don't have to do the commentary. We could just look through the move. So I really enjoyed the detail of this, the setup of this North South choke, and I don't think you've seen it. So I'll let you take a look at it and comment on it.
Can we make it bigger? I don't have my glasses.
Yeah, Instagram sucks. It's hard to get it big.
So if you notice, as he's moving into that north south, before he goes to set in his north south choke, he's actually pushing at the hip level to create
It's head positioning too. See how his head's at his hip?
Yep.
Mhm. And he's like lifting his back up too to expose underneath
Mhm.
for the choke.
Mhm.
I thought this was some really good detail on the leverage that he was using on his
They
toes.
lifted him up so he
It
could
is,
slip.
yeah. That's the part that I noticed the most. The rest of it's kind of hard to tell.
He
But
lifted,
yeah,
he lifted him up. See how
he's
his
got an
head's up?
underhook.
He
Yep.
he hooks the left arm, and then he slips the right arm under the head right there.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Mhm.
I
And
really,
then, once you hip out and
You know why that was happening? It was all because he was kind of semi-tripoding and he was burying his head in his hip, so he couldn't really like hip escape or anything like that.
yeah,
So it was forcing his head to come up a little bit because he was putting the pressure on.
right.
So he was able to slip that right hand underneath. Yeah, it was nice. It's good, you know.
Nice video.
So,
that's a good one.
it's good. What we got next?
So next, this one we're gonna want to listen to the audio. It's gonna be one of our.
I like that. We should do more of this, like little.
Yeah.
Man.
Listen, StreamYard, if
Good
you're
shit,
listening, we
Eli.
really need a staging area. I need to be able to pull up the next video that I want to share without taking this screen off and then pulling the next one up. It would make our broadcast, and I'm sure many other broadcasts who use
StreamYard doesn't
way
hear us
better.
anyway.
They ask us for comments at the end of every show.
I know
and
they ask
I tell
us.
them.
I think that's their way of being like, yeah, if we just say that, they'll just be like, yeah.
They aggregate. I mean, companies like to aggregate the stuff, and eventually they figure it out. They
You
can't
know
make
who
updates
doesn't
every day.
listen? You know who doesn't listen? War Tribe. Fuck you, War Tribe.
Oh,
I'm really upset with you guys.
Did you email them or something?
I tried emailing them
6 keys of
8
theirs.
times. 8 times. We tagged them on all our videos. So annoying. No, not this one. This is the last one.
that's not the one.
No.
Sorry.
That's
Well, just
the-
play it now.
No, don't play it now. Play the Patty the Batty.
Oh my god, he got so fat. He's 200 pounds now, bro.
This is
Patty
what
the
that video
Fatty.
is
He
about.
fought 3 weeks. Was it 3 weeks ago?
Yep.
It was less than a month.
It was less than a month.
All right, so this guy shredded, bro. Down to 155, shredded. Looked like, I mean,
Oh, you're looking at my arse.
if you just take away his face,
Eating this time round.
he's a model.
It's been going well.
No
He
video.
looks it.
Yeah. I haven't ate yet today.
Look at
Just
him.
had a
Can we
little
get- can we get
protein
another
bar on
picture
the
of,
way
like, just
here
3
from
weeks
the
ago?
Starbucks. So
We
And a
gotta
cup
hear
of
what he
tea.
says. Hold on.
I haven't eaten it on today. Done a little.
I mean, he's drunk. I can't understand anything anyway.
No, he's not drunk. He just has an
He
accent.
sounds drunk.
Instagram, you automatically.
He's Irish.
He
He's
looks
drunk.
Yeah. I haven't ate
No.
yet today. I
Haven't
just
ate
had a
yet
little
today.
Is he Irish
protein
or
bar
is
on
he,
the way here
Scottish?
from the Starbucks.
He's Irish.
And a cup of tea. I haven't eaten it on today. Done a little run this morning, but
Sorry, he's
I'm
loud.
going to eat well tonight. Don't worry about that. I'll make up for it.
How? What do you reckon you weigh right now?
About 200.
Is that normal for you?
Look
to
at
get
his
that
fucking face. His face was half the size
I know.
before.
I like what he says here.
You could say that. You could not say that.
Do you ever think to yourself, "Oh, eventually, like once I get a little bit"?
Yeah, when I'm a bit older and I want to start fighting ranked opponents, and I will keep your weight down. But for now, I enjoy putting a little bit of chub rub on.
Chub rub.
Post UFC London eating this time round.
It's been going well.
That was your favorite
Yeah.
part, the chub
Yeah.
rub.
I haven't ate yet today.
I haven't ate yet today.
I haven't. I had a little bit of a protein bar.
And some tea from Starbucks.
I'm sorry, buddy, but you ate a little bit more than a protein bar.
Oh man, he's awesome though.
Dude, he's like the Christian Bale of the MMA world.
Ed, where you at? Your camera's off.
putting weight on.
There he is.
I've been off the whole fucking time.
No. It was like just
5
a couple
minutes.
ago.
You had your badass sunglasses on before.
Yeah. We should have we should have had that played instead for our opening intro.
Thanks, Amanda.
Amanda says the sun never sets on a badass man. We should all be wearing sunglasses then. All right, yeah. So to close it off, Eli found this cool video for us this week that he was very adamant on closing the show out with this week. Does it have sound?
No.
No sound?
We don't need sound.
We don't need the sound.
We don't need the sound.
Paint the picture, Eli. Paint the pretty picture for us. What happens here? What's happening?
So this just shows you that whatever you're doing in life is just to stay consistent and don't look at trying to see for immediate results. That in time, if you're, and it doesn't matter when you start either. If you really have passion over something and you really want to reach a goal, just stay consistent. And here we see an 86-year-old being promoted to black belt. I mean, this is such a beautiful moment.
It would have been so much cooler too if he's just like, look at him. He looks like Yoda, right? He needs a fucking cane. And he just took the black belt that gave him his
And
black
did a
belt
flip.
and just fucking flipped him. And he was just, whoa, that was wild.
He just does a flying armbar.
So this is my
just see-
academy now.
You just see movement like he was 30 again. You're just like, yeah, don't ever give up, kids. You're like,
Man,
No,
God
but
God
I know,
bless him.
it's
man.
amazing.
God bless him. That is just
I mean, it's special to see. It's a beautiful thing.
For him to get up and go into those classes, a couple times a week or however frequently he goes, that's pretty cool.
Like, I don't know how hard he's going or how hard he's able to go, but the fact that he's there and like, I don't know, that's special.
Yeah.
also that gym looks like they double as a club at night.
I was gonna say, is it the Bee Gees play there or something?
The nights on Broadway.
Yeah.
I definitely had the Bee Gees come in my head.
Right. That's funny. Yeah. So that's all we got. That's all we have for you guys this week. Thanks again for joining us for our first episode of season 2, which would be our 26th episode in total.
Your cousin, oh, no, that's not your cousin. Never mind.
You racist.
Funny part is, I think you did that earlier on.
he did.
I didn't. The only one see the fucking name, so I was like, I just saw Reyes.
Mark, just so you know, They're racist.
Yeah.
I
Eli,
have
can you pull
respect
the
for you,
banners
Mark.
up as I do the close?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so this has been the Adaptive Podcast. Remember, it would not be possible without us being able to train with our professor, Raji Barrett, at his academy, Raji Barrett Jiu-Jitsu. If you're cool, you can train here. Be sure to follow Raji on Instagram at Raji Barrett Jiu-Jitsu and check out his website, rajibarrettjiujitsu.com. Remember to like, subscribe, comment on our podcast. You can also check out our gear at adaptivejiujitsu.com. Remember to follow us at Adaptive Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram. We've been a little slow on there, but we're going to ramp up the videos once again. Season 2, we're really excited for it. We're really trying hard to prepare, work hard during the week to get these videos going. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please, let us know, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can know when we go live. And yeah, thanks guys. It was a great show.
Have a good night,
Hope you
guys.
enjoyed it.
Holla at a player when you see him in the streets.
Yeah.